interesting. But anyway, when you first install a new WordPress, there are certain processes and certain configurations that you need to do to make it. There are certain processes and configurations that are recommended that you try and do, and certain plugins that you need to install before you start doing anything else. So that is what we are going to look at now. First thing, we'll need to log into a place where we can make changes to our WordPress website. This is the basic WordPress website as it is now. Anybody that types resellrights.com.ng, this is what they are going to see. So this is called the front end. The front end of a website is the part of the website where visitors will see when they visit that website. So it's just like the front facing part of the website or the house. But to change things on the website and to create posts and to update and other things like that, change various configurations, we need to log into what is called the back end or the admin area. To do that for WordPress websites, unless it has been changed by maybe the developer, but for a basic WordPress website or a new WordPress website, all you need to do is to type the domain name and go to /wp-admin. So this link is also given by Softaculous. When we created our new WordPress, we were able to get these links given to us. So if we click on resellrights.com.ng/wp-admin, it will take us to the place where we can now log into our admin. So remember the username and password we entered when we were creating the WordPress website. That is what you enter here. So I will just enter a wrong password purposely. Let's see if our security check will work before I enter the correct one. Okay, so you can see this message up there telling us that incorrect username or password, 2 attempts left. So if I should enter the wrong username and password 2 more times, then it's going to block out the login for a short period of time. So now I will enter the correct thing and we can move ahead. If you want to remember your password in your browser, you can click on remember. If not, close it. So this is what the basic WordPress dashboard looks like when you just log in. So you can see, first of all, in the main area, it gives you links to some common tasks that you may want to do. Write your first blog post, add an about page, or view your website, and even more things that you can do. But we can also do these things from the menu that is on the left hand side. So we are not going to look at them very well. Then you can see different sections showing you different activities, showing you comments, showing you how many posts you have, how many pages, and so on, and even WordPress news. If there's any information here you don't want to see, you can use this up arrow to minimize it, or you can scroll and come here to screen options and uncheck what you don't want to see there. So let's uncheck those, and now they are no more visible. Then coming to the menu on the left, you see different menus. We are going to look at many of them. Home takes us to the main dashboard. If there are new updates, you see them here. Once you click, you see the notifications for the updates. So you have the latest version of WordPress. Our WordPress is up to date, but it tells us that this particular plugin has a new update. So to update the plugin, all you need to do is select it. It's usually a good practice to update your plugins, your themes, and your WordPress regularly. So if you don't log in all the time, try to log in at least once a month to do all your updates. So to update a plugin, you select the plugin and come down here, click on update plugins. So we have updated that plugin, and if we should refresh, you will see that this notice telling us that a new update will disappear. Okay. Now we are seeing it did not disappear because we also have a theme that has an update. So it says we have version 1.04 installed, update to 1.1.2. Now if you've made changes to your theme, direct changes to your theme code, if you update it now, it's going to override those changes. So you have to be very careful. Like mentioned in a previous lecture, making changes to your theme, it's better to use something called a child theme, which we are going to look at later on. So if you have a child theme of this Poseidon and you update it here, it will not override the changes you make as long as you made them on the child theme. So right now we've not made any change, we are just using this on a fresh install of WordPress, so we can go ahead and update it without any fear. So you click on update themes. Okay, so updated. Now we can see that the update notice here has finally disappeared. That's for those two. If you want to create a new post, this is the button for it. This is the, but we are going to look at that later on. First thing you need to do when you set up a new WordPress website, you go to settings. We need to make some settings, correct some settings here before we proceed. Now under settings, you can find some general settings for the whole WordPress website. So if you click on settings and then general, you will see where you can, if you want to change the name of the site, the title of the site, which is the name that shows up at the top, you can change it here. The tagline, you can change it here. If you don't really know what you are doing, please don't change the WordPress address and the site address, because this could cause your website not to function anymore again. If you want to make such changes, you need to have some more advanced knowledge of WordPress, but at the basic level you can just leave that as it is. If you want to change the email associated with the website, you can change it there. If you want to allow people to register, you can change that there, but we won't do that yet until we understand that feature better. So you can leave this as subscriber. This is actually tied to the membership. And then your time zone. If you want your posts and other reports to show up based on the correct time zone that you are located in, then you have to put the correct time zone here. For Nigeria, we are in UTC+1. So put that. UTC is also GMT for those that don't already know. So put that there. The format of your date, you can leave it like this, or you change it if you like. Time format, you can leave it like this or change it if you like. Week starts on Monday. Okay, you want to change the site language, you can change it here. So that's the first section of the settings that we need to change. Then writing settings will allow you to set up various common options, but as it is now, we can leave all this as they are. You don't need to bother about this for now, but I'll just explain what this is. Normally when you create a new post, if you want the search engines to easily index that post and put it in their database, or if you want them to at least be aware that there's a new update on your website, you need to leave this as it is. rpc.pingomatic.com is a service that helps you to ping various search engines and various services that is actually beneficial for your blog, because it helps you to spread the word, especially when you create a new update. Now there are a lot of other update services, but rpc.pingomatic actually covers most of the more important ones. So for a new blog, there's really nothing to change here. Writing. Then we'll go, the next one we'll go to reading. We didn't change anything. So reading, if you want your front page to show up at like a blog format where you have all the latest posts listed there, then you leave this setting here. Your front page is your home page. But if you want to use a fixed page, say you just want to have a fixed write-up, instead of all your new updates showing up on the front page, then you have to create that page and then select this. So once you select this, it gives you option to select which page you want to use as your home page. So if you have maybe a kind of write-up or a sales page or a landing page, you can use that as your home page instead. But we are building a blog, so for now we'll just leave that there. And if you want your blog pages or your home page, how many posts you want it to show up at a time, you can select it here. 10 is a good number, we'll leave that. Our RSS feed, a WordPress website normally comes with an automatic RSS feed, so you don't need to create it separately. You can always access it by typing your website domain name and /feed. So the number you put here determines how many of your most recent posts will show up in your feed at any given time. 10 is also a good number. Then one important thing here is, if you want your feed to show as the full feed or the summary of the feed only, you can come and change it here. It's usually recommended to change this to summary, because there are people who could use your RSS feed to automatically populate and update their own website. So if you are publishing the full feed, then they'll be able to get your full content. But if you use a summary, then all they would get, those automated feed scrapers will get just a summary of your post and a link back to your website. And if you are building a blog you don't want the search engines to see or to find or to detect, then you select this one. But if you want it to be visible to all search engines, then you can leave it. We don't encourage people to select this, because it would make your website not visible, and recovering from that can take quite some time. So from what we have seen here, the main thing you need to change for a starting blog is to change your feed article to show as summary instead of the full text, and we'll save the changes. The next option we are going to be looking at under settings is discussion settings. Discussion settings is a place where you can set up some common options for your comments. So according to the defaults here, attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the article. You can unselect this, because selecting that would somehow slow down your server, especially if you have a very busy site with a lot of visitors. It means that anytime you put a link, your page would communicate, or in a sense ping the website that you have linked to and wait for it to respond. If you want your link to be spread around, it may be a good idea, because sometimes some websites allow you to, when you link to them and you select this option. Whenever it's contacted, whenever your site contacts the other site that you have linked to it, that site will now automatically put your link on their page. So it has its good sides and it has its bad sides, but it's something we can explore later. For now, okay, maybe we can select it. Allow link notifications from other blogs. If you want to know when other people link to you, you can select this, but if you don't want to, you unselect it. If you select it, whenever someone links to you, their link will also appear on your website, a link back to them. So some spammers use it to get links from unsuspecting people, so we normally like to unselect it. And if you want people to be able to comment on your articles, you leave that there. So comments, you can get a lot of spam for your comments, so these other settings, other comment settings, will help you to control that spam to a certain degree. For example, if you compel everybody to fill out their name and email before they post, that could help you to reduce spammers. Not eliminate them, but reduce it. So we'll leave that selected. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. Some people make the mistake of putting this on a new blog, but what it will do is it will just make it more difficult for people to comment, because they have to first of all register on your blog. So it's not advisable, especially on a new blog, to select that. So we'll not select it. Then if you want to be able to stop people from commenting on articles that are very old, you can select this. One reason why you may want to do that is some spammers look for very old articles with open comments and just flood it with a lot of spam comments. You may not necessarily be aware because the articles are so old. So some people like to just lock up comments for articles older than 14 days. So if it's a news website, what we suggest is news gets old. So after about 21 days or 30 days, there's really not always a point in leaving the comments open. So if you are getting a lot of spam on your old blogs, you can select this to close it up. But if your posts are posts that don't have a time limit, maybe they remain current for a very long time, then you can unselect that. So we will unselect it, and if we ever have a spam problem, we can come here and select it. Hope it's making sense. Okay. Enable threaded comments. This means that if somebody replies to another person's comment, that person's reply will appear below and to the right of the original comment. So we'll look at an example of that later, but you can leave that selected. If you have a lot of comments like 50 or more, can end up slowing your page, especially if it's a popular page. So if you are getting issues with that, you can come here and select this, so that posts that have a lot of comments and are very popular will not end up slowing down your site. When the comment gets to 50, the rest are pushed to other pages. So with this option, you can select, you can break it into, break comments into pages with how many comments you want on each page. You put it there. 50 is a good number. You can also use something like 20. Top level comments on the page, per page, and the last page displayed by default. If you want the most recent comments to show, then you have to select its last page. But if you want the very first comments to show, as in the first 20 to be visible, you can make this first page. So we'll use last page. You can try different options and see which one works for you. Comments should be displayed with the older comments at the top of each page. You can leave that option there too. If you want to be informed whenever somebody posts a comment, which is ideal for a new blog so that I can easily catch the spammers, you can select this. And if there's a comment that has been posted but is pending review, as in your WordPress holds the comment and allows you to review it first before letting it show up, Then if you have that kind of functionality and you select this, whenever there's a new comment held for you to come and approve, the process is called moderation. So if there's a new comment like that, you get a notice. If you don't want to get those notices, uncheck it. And here, before a comment appears, it's good to leave this option like this, as in comment author must have a previous approved comment. This is a good way to control spam, because it means that only somebody who has had their comment approved will automatically have their comment showing whenever they post again. And for comment moderation, if most spam comments usually contain links, and the worst of the comments usually contain several links. So you can have a rule where if the comment has more than 2 links, it should be held for moderation, which means you have to check it first before approving it. So leaving this option as 2 is okay. And if you want to filter your comments, say you have a blog that has a lot of spam comments that contain similar words, you can come here and set up those words, because it says here when a comment contains any of these words in its content, it will be held in the moderation queue. So here is a good place to put in content that you don't want people to be able to comment about. It could be things like sexual content, so you can have words like this, so that if anybody enters any of those, it doesn't automatically show on your website. But if you don't have a list like that, you can leave it blank. So this first moderation box, we'll put it under moderation, and any words, any comment that fits in with the words you list here will be totally cancelled and blacklisted, while this one will be put into moderation. So that's the difference between this box and the one below. Avatars are images like this that show up beside comments, and just like DPs or user profile images. So if you want to use that kind of feature on the blog, you can leave this checked. So we'll leave that checked, we'll leave this checked. And if somebody commenting does not have a default avatar, or does not have an avatar or a DP or an ID already, it will use this image or whatever you select here. So if you don't want it to use any of these default images, you can use blank. If you want a default image, you can use that. So we can leave that. Sometimes if you want it to just generate some funny or weird images, you can select any of these. So let's take Monster ID, and then we'll save changes. Then the next section is media. So if you want to control the number of the size of images and the thumbnails, a thumbnail is like a small version of an image. So if you have a big image in a post and you want it to show the small version, maybe in a place where you have just summaries, then with this place you can control the size of those thumbnails. Those are called thumbnails. In this place you can control the size of the thumbnails, but we can just leave everything here as they are. And finally, and very importantly, permalinks. So what is the permalink? The permalink is also the link. It's the structure that WordPress will use to create the links to the posts that you make. You can see here there are different types. There's the plain one. Plain one will just be your website name / P equal to the number there is the post ID. So all you have are just numbers. So irrespective of the post, you have permalinks that are based on numbers, various numbers. It's not very good for SEO, but if you are not concerned about SEO, you just want a short URL or permalink, then you can use plain. But the default one here is day and name. But the best to use for SEO purposes is usually the one that has just the website, and then the post name. So if the name of the post is sample post, then any post you create will have that kind of permalink, your website name, as in rslrights.com.ng/sample post. So if you have a post that is titled Jesus is coming soon, so automatically what WordPress would create from that post, the kind of permalink, if you select this post name option, would be rslrights.com.ng/jesus-is-coming-soon. So using this kind of permalink structure ensures that the keywords in your post title also appear in your URL, which is beneficial for SEO purposes. So always remember to change your permalink to post name, especially for a new blog. And when you do that, you click on Save Changes. So those are the basic general options that you need to set up for a new blog. Whenever you create a new blog, you just try to go through these settings and set those general options, and then you are good to go.